Okay, so let me just ask you about, because I was talking earlier about, okay, look, Shohei's going to stay. It looks like Blake Snell and Josh Hader probably going to stay with San Diego.
Yeah.
So maybe the trade deadline ends with a whimper. Maybe it doesn't. What's the move that has? Well, first of all, where do you stand on that?
I mean, I still like why wouldn't the Mets move Verlander?
Why would they?
And of course that'd be a huge move, right? Like they're not tearing down, of course, but maneuvering that money or figuring things out the way they did with Scherzer. They ended up getting a great prospect because they included money. Maybe they do that again with Verlander, or this when they get the money off the books. They can kind of play it either way there. So I mean, that's still a pretty major piece to be figured out.
What's the move made thus far? And because all of this is great, speculation with trade deadlines, and it's great for mainstream sports. But what we care about is what triggers a bet. Was there anything done? Was the Angels collective, both on the mound and offensively, having acquired Cronin Grichuk yesterday on the heels of Giolito? What's the team that in all of this you think, well, this player to that team, maybe it's Montgomery and Scherzer to the Rangers, triggers a bet that wasn't there beforehand?
I don't know. I mean, Texas was already in first, so maybe you feel more secure. If the price, I'm sure the prices have changed already based on trades though too, so that's kind of tough. I think to really go get a great number on Texas, you know how much I like the Angels. I pick them all the time, and it's not, just for fun. It's not a meme. I do believe they're a talented team. I love the moves they've made. I really, really do. I think those have been great. Solidifying moves. Depth has been a problem, right? They've lost a lot of guys. They played pretty well overall. I think for all the talk about the Angels, people act like they're, 15-80. They're 55-51. They're right there. And when they get Trout back, Drury's on his way back, and the moves they've made, I think that's probably where you can maybe still get a decent number because Texas and Houston are no joke. And Houston been sitting on their hands, which that could be the Verlander landing spot, bringing him back. So, yeah, I mean, I know I advocate for the Angels a lot on this show. I'm not off them, and I'm certainly not after these moves.
All right, by the way, the Rangers' odds got longer. I had talked about last week on this show, even after those moves, they got incrementally longer. I was saying last week, not yesterday, but last week, I think both the Rays and the Astros, the current second-place teams in the AL East and the AL West, respectively, end up winning those divisions. I wanted to throw out some odds for you, division by division. You tell me, you raise your hand. You don't have to comment on all these. You raise your hand when you think there's a good bet here. NL West, Giants, current second-place team, 2 games out, 5-1. Nothing there from Paulie.
Nope.
NL Central. How dare you, Paul, by the way. NL Central. Brewers, -110. Reds, +145. Cubs, 5-1. Speaking of trade deadline, should we or shouldn't we?
I can get on the Reds a little bit. Man, I really hope they go get a few supplemental pitching pieces. They don't have to go break the bank. You don't got to trade Noel Marte. They have a deep system. They can go into the middle of it, get something decent. That just get a few supplemental arms. Try to bridge the gap to getting to Lodolo and Green. I know the pitching staff has pitched very well recently. I just don't buy it long term outside of Andrew Abbott and a little bit Graham Ashcraft, but the ERA he's putting up is not backed by skills at all. So they need pitching. So I might go preemptive on them and hope they do something today, tomorrow, and before those odds get shorter. But I still love Cincinnati too, and even a couple of bullpen pieces would work for me with Cincinnati. So I kind of like where their numbers are at.
Brewers half game out, -110. The Cubs 4 out. From the Reds, 5-1. All right, AL East. Rays and Orioles both +130, with the Orioles 1.5 games up, but that's all 3 in the loss column. The Blue Jays are 5.5 out. They're +475. Do you like anything there?
I kind of like the Jays. I know they lost Romano Hicks as a replacement as opposed to an addition, but it's not permanent. At least we hope, for Romano's health's sake. I still think this is a pretty good team that's just kind of lying in the weeds. And I say lying in the weeds, they're 59-47. They'd be leading a lot of divisions out there or much closer. They just happen to be in the AL Beast, which makes things tougher, right? You can only give them so much credit. They still have to get through that. I do like the Jays a little bit too. I wouldn't be surprised if they made another move or two today and tomorrow.
AL Central, Twins -205, Guardians +160. Everybody, anecdotally on this network, my guests, other shows' guests, everybody keeps waiting for the Guardians to make the move. They're a half game out here. and they're plus 160.
That feels like a good number as is. You have to be comfortable with the fact that they might not do anything, though. So if you place that bet in anticipation of a move, you might get disappointed, right? They play it cheap all the time. They might do some really tiny things. They shouldn't. They should be a little bit more aggro. I don't mind trading Ahmed Rosario, but Thor's not gonna. If they fix Thor, they're the greatest pitching team out there. Because if the Dodgers can't, it's hard to believe that anybody else can. But Cleveland is one of the best out there. We'll see if they can bring themselves to the top of the heap. They need to do more than that, though. Not necessarily to beat the Twins, but to be something in playoffs. But I do like the plus 160 as it is right now.
Okay, and finally the AL West, the Astros are plus 100, the Rangers are plus 120 despite being in the lead, the Mariners 11-1. The Angels, by the way, for what it's worth, 20-1, 5 out after making all those additions.
Yeah, I'm hitting that for sure. I mean, I like them as much as I did coming into the year. I think the moves they've made have been great. I'm hitting the Angels for sure. But the fact that you're telling me that the Rangers odds got longer, I had not seen that after the moves. I think that's kind of wild because Houston sat on their hands. And while I think they can still win the division as is, it is a little weird that they've done nothing. Maybe those odds are in anticipation of Houston doing something because, of course, if they get Verlander, then you can get your Rangers, a lot cheaper at that point, I would imagine. So I'd still be looking at it at plus 120 with them in the lead and the Rangers being the longer shot. I'm kind of intrigued by that, even though I respect Houston and the Angels.
All right, we got 2 minutes. Give me the 6 teams that make the playoffs in the American League.
Orioles, Twins, Rangers, Rays, Angels, Astros.
Angels.
Only 2 from the AL East.
Angels plus 550, yes, to make the postseason. So you like that?
I'm in.
All right.
It's a good like they've developed some pitching. It's not just Ohtani, Trout, and a bunch of idiots. It's really not.
That excites me. What about the National League? Give me the 6.
Braves, Dodgers. I think the D-backs can storm back. They've hit a little bit of a wall, but I'm still on them. I'll say the Reds. I'm a little suspect on that one. The Marlins and the Brewers.
Marlins
2 from the
and
Central,
the
which
Brewers.
is kind of crazy.
Oh, how dare you with all these? All right, so let me see. So let me see what the best.
The Giants aren't making the playoffs.
Oh, come on, stop it already. They're smarter than everybody. Diamondbacks would be plus 155, yes, to make the playoffs of the ones you mentioned. What was the other one? Oh, the Marlins. You like the Marlins to get there. The Marlins are plus 100, so not the sexiest, but those are. So the Angels, the best of the bunch in terms of making the playoffs, per your viewpoint, though, of
Definitely.
those. Okay.
As far as like getting some longer odds there, and again, I love these moves. They've really pushed. I respect that. Don't trade Ohtani. You push.
Absolutely, you don't trade him.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.